Hey guys, welcome to Mid America Dirt. I'm Skip, and I am super excited to be joined by Jackie Dalton. Jackie, how you doing today?
All right, not too bad.
Good deal. Yeah, you're from Carthage, is that right?
Yep.
Carthage, Missouri. Um, I know last time I talked to you at the pits, you talked about track championships. Tell us about those track championships.
Well, you, in my eyes, you got to have something to race for. You know, I've always kind of been a points racer. So I won championships at Monett Speedway. I probably won two or three in an A mod. I've won a couple in a B mod. I won a late model championship there.
Oh, man.
Springfield Raceway is where I've raced at the most, and I think I've won the championship there probably 10 or 11, 12 times, somewhere around in there. A buddy of mine keeps track of all my accolades, and I think he said I've won 23 track championships.
Holy cow! How long have you been racing?
This is actually my 31st year.
Golly, man, that is awesome. I can see behind you back there, all those trophies up there on your wall. Man, that is super cool. That is
Yep, we
super
hang
cool.
our old roofs up there, the fiberglass roofs that everybody used to run. That's what's hanging up there because you can't do nothing with them.
Yeah. So, how did you get started out? Did you come from a racing family?
Yeah, my dad raced when I was about 10 years old and up until I was about 15, 16, and then my oldest brother kind of took it over, and then the middle brother, he raced for a while too, so it just kind of got handed down till I was old enough to do it.
What did you start out in?
Uh, I started out in what they call the bomber class, you know, your factory stock, street stock, whatever you want to call it, bomber,
Right.
because we ran street tires back then. But that's what I started out in. Didn't know what the heck I was doing, but it was fun.
I hear you. I hear you. So, where did you start at? What track did you start racing at the most?
Joplin 66 Speedways where I
Oh,
raced
okay.
at most of the time. We went to Monett a little bit, but you know I wasn't very good when you first start, so running outside the top 10 kind of sucked. But we got better.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that 66 track. I mean, how was that? Was it a pretty nice track?
It was really nice for probably the first 8, 10 years, and then at one time the track prep got pretty bad to where it was really rough. I just think the people that ran it kind of ran it in the ground more than anything.
What
But
size was it?
it's a 3/8, and they're
Okay.
actually opening it back up. They're doing a lot of major construction on it right now. I mean, a lot of construction on it.
I heard, through the grapevine that they may be thinking about doing some special event races there again at some point.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be next year before they even do that. They're looking at other stuff like concerts and, you know, what tractor pulls and monster trucks.
Right.
They don't want to be a weekly racetrack.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know there's probably a ton of work involved in that. You can't get away from that probably once you start, can you? I know Stovall. It seems like he's done a really good job getting that Monett track going. I mean, what do you think about it?
It's Monett has probably been the best it's been for quite a while. Me and Jesse don't see eye to eye on everything. I want to be on a dry slick racetrack, and he wants to be on a hammer down racetrack because he doesn't want dust for the fans, which I
Right.
understand that, but I think he would draw more cars, BMod wise, if the track was slicked off and, you know, a little more racier than what it is. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah. I heard that track got, kind of rough there for a while. And I know they've added a lot of clay to it and stuff like that. I mean, how, how does racing on Monett, and I know maybe you don't do it as much anymore, but how does that prepare you for other 3A tracks?
It really depends on, you know, if it's dry slick or tacky. I mean
Okay.
that's really your biggest difference in racing. at the beginning of the night, it's tacky, hammer down, wide open, and then the end of the night, you're trying to tighten your car up and drive in straight and off straight just to keep your speed up and, not be sideways or anything. I don't really race a lot of other 3/8 mile tracks. I just mainly race Monett and Springfield now. There might be a time where I venture out if there's a big race somewhere. We used to race Humboldt when they had the King of America, paid like $9,000 or $9,500 to win or something like that. We'd go to that for 3 days. But I don't really venture out. To me, it's got to pay you. I'm not going to drive 2 hours to race for $500. It ain't worth it to me.
I mean, how much does it cost you to go?
Yeah, in diesel fuel alone to get there and get back. I mean, you're looking at $100 probably right there at least. Yeah. And then some tracks you go to them and they don't use your transponder, so you got to rent their transponder. Or if you're not, like right now, I'm not. 2 tracks I race at, neither one of them are USRA sanctioned. So if I go to a USRA track, I got to buy a temp license. So that's another $10 just throwing away for nothing. So I race Monett and Springfield, and if Monett doesn't run Friday night, I don't go nowhere else. I just go out with my family, go out and eat. My son playing varsity football is getting ready to start up, so I'm probably going to miss quite a few nights at Monett just because of his football games.
I know how big that high school football is up there. Carthage, Webb City, Joplin.
And Joplin's right next door.
It's big time. I know that.
Yeah, it gets wild.
Yeah, I mean, Carthage is, I know they've been good. I mean, I keep up with that stuff up there because I got family in that area, but it is. I mean, they talk about high school football in Texas, but high school football in Southwest Missouri is serious business.
Yeah, it's really a strong division there with Joplin and Webb City. Webb City's always good, and Carthage. And then we also play Nixa, which is a really good 6A team. Yep. My son was a sophomore last year. He started at linebacker, so this year he's a junior at linebacker. Maybe do a little running back. Maybe I think he's even the backup quarterback if our quarterback goes down. So this year could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, it could. Sounds like it could get pretty busy for him.
Yeah,
it does.
And right now, our starting running back is hurt. He's out, I think, for another 3 weeks. Well, in 3 weeks 2 or 3 weeks is their first football game. So,
who do you open up with?
Huh?
Who do they open up with?
I can't remember. It's I can't remember who they're playing.
Yeah, I'll
we played them last year. They wasn't a great team last year, but any team could turn around. It's just straight up I-44. Past Springfield.
Lebanon or Mansfield or something like that?
I think is it?
Marshfield?
Heck, I don't remember. Shoot.
Yeah, I'll look it up. But, I mean, I know how serious it is up there. It's a big deal. And I know, Webb City's I've always heard about Webb City being a big powerhouse, but Carthage seems to always be there too. So
we're always there until we play Webb City. It's what Webb City our name is. We can beat them in the regular season, but when it comes playoff time, we lose almost every year to them. So hopefully this year.
It's like Webb City and Lamar. And Lamar, they're a little school. It seems like they're always, right there. Like Webb City and Lamar, it's just.
Seneca. Man. Seneca's another good one.
Yeah.
It's just not very far away. There was one year where Southwest Missouri could have won every division at state within a 2 mile rate or a 2 hour radius.
Isn't that crazy in a state like Missouri where you've got Kansas City and St. Louis and Columbia? I mean, and Springfield. Springfield's not little. I mean, that's a pretty good sized place.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that year. That was the year Webb City was. They was 4A. Carthage was 5A. Joplin was 6A, and then I think Lamar was 3A, and Seneca was 2A, and I can't remember who the 1A school was, but all right here close. Yeah, now, it didn't turn out that way. I don't even know if any of them won the state title that year, but it was pretty pretty neat there for a while.
Yeah, not only is Southwest Missouri football country, it's racing country too, isn't it? There have been a ton of good drivers come out of Southwest Missouri.
Well, a ton of good drivers and a ton of racetracks. There's a ton of racetracks within a 2 hour radius too.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the best in the business. I remember when I was young, come through, come out of Southwest Missouri. The big names. I mean, you always saw them running with, like Fry, Esri,
Yeah.
people like that were always running with, Moyer and, all those guys. So I mean, you get a lot of attention on the other side of the river. You know what I mean? They get
Yeah.
a lot of attention on the other side of the river, but there is just an amazing amount of good tracks, good drivers, and excellent racing over here in our part of the country.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching Ken Esri and Larry Phillips and Billy Moyer. When they come to Monett, I was probably only 13, 14, 15 years old. I watched them battle it out. I watched Ken Esri at Springfield. Springfield's a quarter-mile racetrack. And Ken Esri started last, and in one lap, he was in the lead in the feature.
Are you kidding me?
No, he passed everybody in one lap.
Holy cow.
It was, and I was young then, but I remember it. He was off the backstretch, going down the backstretch, still passing cars. And he went right around them on the outside.
Is that the Springfield racetrack that's there right now?
Yep.
Wow, I do like that track. That is, I don't know, I don't have to race on it, but that is a fun track to watch racing at. It really is.
I think it's one of the most raciest racetracks, and it's always smooth. It's always, it takes more of a driver when the track is slicked off versus hammer. If it's tacky, hammer down, everybody's fast. I mean, but when it slicks off, it takes more of a setup and a driver from there.
I've heard a lot of the, I don't want to say, guys that have been driving a long time or a while, they like the track to where you have to be a driver to run on it. And I've heard that a lot. That even tires, I've heard guys say that, get everybody on soft tires. Well, it doesn't really take a great driver to do good on soft tires. I don't know if that you feel that way, or what are your thoughts on the tires?
I think we need to be on the hardest tire there is, because tires are almost $200 a tire.
Yes.
So right there, it's just adding more expense. I ran a late model when they first started the late model class. They bought the hardest tire. I ran the same tires all season on the rear, not on the front, on the rear.
No way.
Yep.
Really?
I ran a 100-lap feature, and the tires didn't look like they had any laps on them.
Holy
Now,
cow.
I did run a 604 crate, so I wasn't blowing my tires off. There was other guys that was, but I think we need to be on the hardest tire there is, just so they'll last longer.
So is that a tire company thing, just trying to make more money, basically?
The tire deal is a hush-hush deal. You can't call the tire company and say, hey, I want to buy 100 tires. They only sell to certain people, and they won't sell to two different people real close together either.
Oh, so they got certain dealers you got to go through?
Yep, there's a lot of parts that's like that too. If you're a dealer for this part in Carthage, they're not going to let somebody in Joplin become a dealer because you're too close. I mean, it's weird how some of this stuff works. I mean, there's always got to be a middleman. Nobody wants to sell direct to the public. Which, I don't know if that is what drives the cost up. I don't know what the people are making when they sell a tire.
Right.
But, a tire is $175, $180, and then you got to pay tax on top of that. You're at almost $200. It's ridiculous. And 15 years ago, there was $100, if that.
Yeah, Yeah,
But
I mean,
tires are the main cost in racing.
so what do you go through on a normal weekend? I mean, do you go through a set in a weekend?
If you race two racetracks, there's a good possibility you'll go through your right rear.
Okay.
Now your left rear,
So,
you might be able to get another night out of it, maybe another night or two, and a lot of that depends on track conditions too. If it's hammer down tacky, your tires will last a little longer, but if it's slick, you're going to spin them a little more, and they're not going to last as long.
so you're looking at, if you race 2 nights in a weekend, you're looking at least basically $400 just in tires.
Well, you're going to good possibility you'll burn up your right rear. Your left rear, you might be able to run it a little more. It just depends. You're going to cost yourself at least $200 a weekend just in one tire.
Yeah, are the American racers that way too? I mean, is that
That's what we runs the American racers.
okay? So if you're running Hoosiers, you'd be spending even more than that,
Could be.
from
And
what I understand.
I don't know because I don't have a barometer that checks the tires, but a lot of people say that they make them even softer than they did 3 or 4 years ago. Well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to burn through them faster.
Yeah, yeah. So it's the cost of everything, though, right? Let me. We're probably about the same age. Do you remember when we were young, there being a lot more late models?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It,
Well,
like a,
15 years ago, you could actually make money racing. You can't do that no more because we're still racing for the same amount of money we raced for 15 years ago.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
I mean,
my first A mod I bought turnkey, ready to race, and I think it was $5,000.
holy cow! And the A mod?
Now that cost, shoot, race ready, you're looking at 60, 70, $80,000, depending on what
Yeah,
motor and all that.
I heard that's why A mods are kind of going downhill because they're getting so expensive.
Yep.
Golly, man, that is. I mean, do you think that's just regular like inflation type stuff, or do you think it's just people wanting to make more money?
Well, I would say COVID did a lot of it because people could just raise their price because they could. A brand transmission, you used to be able to buy one for $800, brand new in the box. Now they're $1,500, $1,800. It doubled in price. And why? Aluminum don't cost any more now than it did before.
Yeah.
But everything, they just keep raising the price on everything. I'm actually surprised that racing is still around.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
people work hard for their money. I'm just really surprised that, and the amount of money that people race for, some people race for $150, and they pay 35 or 40 to get in. So you're racing for $60, $70.
Yeah. I know.
There's no way you could come out ahead on that deal.
Yeah. You're right about that purse thing, though. I've definitely noticed that. It's just not, man. I mean, in 30 years, it's not gone up at all.
No, it really hasn't.
I mean, I remember those big late model guys driving around here, for purses. I'm sure it was 3 or 4, maybe $5,000 at some of these tracks over here in the hills. And I mean, that's a pretty big race. That's actually a really big race around here these days.
Yeah. Yeah, I raced when I raced A mod, we ran for $500 normally on a weekly show. Now the B mods are basically your A mods, and we're racing for $500 still. Some places you don't even race for that. But the lower classes, like your Midwest mods and stuff like that, they're basically a B mod. They run the same tires. Their shocks are a little cheaper. Their motors are a little cheaper. But they're racing for $150, $200. I don't know how they do it. If it
I don't
wasn't
either.
sponsors, I wouldn't be able to race. I wouldn't want to race. I wouldn't want to take that money away from my family.
Yeah. Yeah. Jack, look, you're an expert on this stuff. Let me ask you. I've been trying to kind of
I
nail
would
this
call
down.
myself an expert for sure. I
You,
don't always
you,
make the right decisions.
well, well, I mean, as far as technical wise, okay, I know an A mod, it's a 4-bar suspension, right? So it's got independent suspension on each corner. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And what? Yeah, I mean, are their motors open?
They're not open, but they're way bigger than a BMod motor.
Okay, now, so tell me about your B mod compared to a Midwest mod.
Well, and I don't know the exact difference on them, but their compression maybe has to be different.
Okay, same size motor, like a same size motor, just set
It's a
up different.
360. Yeah, the Midwest
Okay,
mod runs 360 just like a B mod, but maybe we can run. I don't know Midwest mods' rules,
okay,
and they're not always the same everywhere you go.
we go. Yeah, there's not even Midwest mods everywhere you go.
Yeah, and some places they get to run a spoiler, some they don't, which that's not a big deal, but it helps. Just depending on how tall a spoiler they let you have,
Okay,
and
so what are?
their
Go ahead.
shocks are not as good as the B mod shocks.
Okay, so but so they, you guys and them though, you have just the front suspension. Is that correct? Like independent. How does that work? What's your suspension like on your B mod?
On the front end or on
Yeah.
the rear
Or
end?
well, is your rear end like just solid? Like, kind of explain to me how that is, how your suspension is.
Well, we run a 2-link, so we like a mod has 2 trailing arms on both sides. A B mod
Okay.
only has 1 on each side.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then an A mod will have a pull bar with a biscuit bar or a spring pull bar or whatever the heck they want, really. A B mod has a solid pull bar, so there's no
Okay.
give on it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now your is what is you run a 360? Are you running what kind of carburetor are you running on that?
Well, there's a lot of different carburetors you can run. I mean,
2 barrel, 4 barrel?
yeah, it's a 2 barrel.
Okay. Okay. And that's pretty I mean, is that pretty standard for B mods anywhere you go? Like, let me ask you this. Could you run down to, I know you don't do it, but could you run down to Tri-State or Crawford and run your B mod?
Yep. That's
Okay.
really the best thing about B mods. Their rules are almost the same no matter where you go.
Okay. Okay. So that's probably one of the reasons they're so popular, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, I noticed B mods are really popular.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they're kind of starting to get away from that a little bit because USRA, that's what everybody was for a long time. Well, now you got this Power I deal coming in, and they ran the exact same rules as USRA until this year, and now they're allowing a different carburetor. So that's going to possibly start screwing stuff up. It was good when the rules was the same everywhere you went. Well, now Power I, you can run a little better carburetor than you can in USRA, and they're kind of cutting the racetrack's throats, because USRA guys won't go race Power I, and Power I won't go race USRA. It kind of hurts both tracks.
Yeah, because I mean, if you have well, I know Arrowhead's having here pretty soon a 30 grand B mod race coming up. And I think in a couple of weeks maybe. That could draw, God, that could draw tons of cars. I don't even know how many, but 30 grand's a pretty big number for a B mod race.
Yeah, last year they didn't have a whole lot of cars though, but I mean, I don't want to get into saying if they did it right or did it wrong, but I, whenever I look at a payout for a racetrack, I don't care what the winner gets.
You're
I
looking
want to
all
see
the
what
way
the
down the
pace to
list.
start. Yeah, because you can lead every lap and have a flat with 5 laps to go, and you're going to get 20th place pay.
Yeah.
I don't understand. The only thing about that 30,000 to win, it's a great deal. It is a great deal. But I think it doesn't pay very good at all if you don't make the show.
Okay.
You know, you're going to pay a $300, I'm guessing, around there, $200 or $300 entry fee. You're going to pay a pit pass 2 or 3 nights, you know, fuel, tires, all that. If you don't make the A main, you might get $200. But if you make the A main, you get $3,000. And it's 30,000 to win. If they would pay 20,000 to win and 2,000 to
that down.
start and take that money and put it in the B, C, and D, they could have 200 cars show up.
Yeah.
And that's what Humboldt, when they had their big B mod race and A mod race, that's what it was. The B feature, if you didn't make it into the A, you got $750.
Well,
The
I mean,
C
that pays
feature-
for your trip almost, doesn't it?
Yeah, almost. The C feature paid $500 to start if you didn't transfer to the B. So they always had almost 100 cars or maybe a little over because the payback was really good for everybody. And then it paid $1,000 to start the A feature. But you don't see that no more.
Yeah.
I can't stand it when there's a 1,000 to win. Second place pays 500. Fifth place might get 150, and then somebody else will add 500 more dollars to first place. Well, you're only making one person happy.
Yeah.
Why not split that up and make 5 or 10 people happy? That's just my opinion.
And you're right about something can happen. I mean, anything can happen. You can lead every lap of that race, you're right, except for one lap, and that's it.
Yep.
And I mean, yeah, that's. But the BMod thing, though, I mean, it is cool that you can. Well, at least I didn't know about this year, but at least you could have tracks could have bigger races to where they could draw in cars from, from other tracks and stuff. And I realize a lot of guys are running for points and they won't leave, right? I mean, that's.
It depends. Like Monett, their NASCAR sanctioned, their point fund is good. Don't get me wrong, it is good. It pays $3,500 to win the points. But do you know what sixth place gets?
What's that?
$200. Now, why would you pay $3,500 to win and $200 for sixth?
Yeah.
Pay $2,000 to
so.
win and stick that $1,500 on back to the top 10.
I see what you're
It just
saying.
doesn't-
So
it makes no sense to me why they put all the money on the top.
again, I don't know. Maybe it makes it sound better or something. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the way it is on when they pay $1,000 to win. You know, everybody thinks that's great. Well, fourth place is $150 or $200. That ain't that great.
Yeah. So I guess you're saying though, if it's a good enough race or a good enough paying race, it might be worth it to go.
Well,
Try
what's
it
it
and
going
leave
to
big
hurt them,
points.
really? You know, this 30,000 to win race. What would it hurt them to pay 20,000 to win and pay 10,000 in the B and C and D feature? It wouldn't hurt them at all.
It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt the track at all, would it?
You know, it's not costing them any more money,
Right.
and they would probably gain a lot of cars if they did that. In my opinion, I might be wrong, but I just don't know why we always put the money. And I've won a lot, but
Obviously.
Jerry Hoffman argued about that. I said, don't put all the money on the top. You're just making one person happy. Let's make 5 or 10 people happy. Split that up. Nope. Everybody wants to race for $1,000. Well, only one person wins that 1,000.
Do you think that other drivers are looking at it the same way as you are? I mean, do you think
don't
they're
know.
looking at that payout and thinking, you hope they are?
Should be, really. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish the track owners would look at it a little different.
Yeah.
You know, and there's some tracks that could pay more than other tracks, and some tracks that, just can't afford it. But I don't know. And my opinion may be wrong. I don't know.
Well, Jackie, let me ask you this. I know you had a pretty bad wreck here recently. Is that correct?
Yep, at Monett.
What? So, can you tell us about that? What happened?
Well, I don't even remember where I started in the feature. Probably sixth, maybe. I don't know. and we was working our way up through there, and we come down the back. One of the cars ahead of me, like fourth place, kind of pushed in the corner, and me and another guy got underneath him, so we was three wide going down the back stretch, and we touched, and I end up on my roof somehow. I got turned halfway down the straightaway, almost at top speed, and I didn't really flip that much, but it did a lot of weird bouncing around and moving. I landed on my roof.
Has that ever happened to you before?
I've never been upside down till this one here.
I saw, I don't know if you know him, John Kirby, he's a late model driver from down in Arkansas. He got on his hood at Arrowhead at that last Comcams race, and he said that's the first time, and he said it was a weird feeling hanging there, waiting on somebody to come.
I mean, I probably had my eyes closed halfway through it. Once you start flipping, I couldn't tell you how many times I flipped. I couldn't tell you where ended up on I thought I flipped off the end of the racetrack. But when I crawled out of my car, I was still on the racetrack right there going into turn 3.
Yeah, for people that don't know, Monett, there is no wall on those curves, is there? You go off that, you go off those turns, and it's off the side.
But I just basically did mine right down the back stretch.
Okay. Did it have? I know I've seen videos. Watched your video on Facebook. So, was that car total, or were you able to get it back together?
Nope, I took it to Trent Wynn. That's who builds the chassis for J2, and he put a whole new front clip on it. That's the car sitting back there behind me. We've almost got it back together. I'm just kind of taking my time. I race a Legend at Monett too, so it's kind of hard to keep two cars going, racing 2 nights a week. And
right.
So football's starting up and everything, so we're just kind of taking our time putting it back together.
Yeah. I remember you told me when I first met you that you did have a J2. And I've heard people talk about those. Are those local? Is that a local build car?
Well, it's kind of a weird deal. They build them in Lebanon, Missouri.
Okay.
And then they ship them to Nevada, Missouri to get put together. Like they'll build them, powder coat them, and I think even do the sheet metal in Lebanon, and then they ship them to Nevada to have them put together. I didn't buy mine brand new. I bought mine used. So.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty cool. It's Southwest Missouri Company, though. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Your Legend car, I want to talk about that for a second. You said, is that your dad's Legend car that you drive?
Yeah, my dad, he's 79 and he can't quit buying crap. He came over one day and he said, well, I did something. I said, well, what'd you do? He said, I bought a Legend. I said, you're going to race a Legend? He said, no, you are. So that's been a little different deal. We've ran actually decent. We just won. After I wrecked my BMod, I missed the next week, and then the next week we went to Monett and got our first win in the Legend. We had a little help, though. We had a little help. I mean, first place or second place spun out first place, and I was in third, and they black flagged second place, and so I kind of lucked into that one. But we're second in points in the Legend. So
yeah, those things are neat, man.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen those a lot until this year. Actually, until I came to Monett, I knew about them, but I hadn't seen them before. Those little things scoot around the track pretty good.
Yeah, they're a lot faster than what I actually thought they was. When my dad bought it and brought it over, we kind of took it down the road. And second gear and third gear don't have much power, but when you hit fourth gear and fifth gear, I mean, you're humming along pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed on that track. They scoot around that thing pretty fast. And I know I've watched you race up there, and you're usually right up there in those too, from what I've seen. So those are really neat, also. But
yeah,
well, man, Jack,
it's a cheap class to race too. I mean, the tires last quite a while. Everything is the same on every car, or supposed to be. But there again, I think my dad paid $6,000 for his Legend. But
Okay.
a brand new Legend, you're talking $15,000 to $20,000.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is that something the average Joe could get into?
Yeah, you can if you got the money.
Oh man. Okay.
And then
Okay.
they race for $200 or $300.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how they
So
do it
yeah.
really.
Yeah. Uh, well, man, I've had you on here for quite a while. Let me. Now I know you have T-shirts because I've seen
Yep.
them and I like them.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to get me one here at some point. If people want to get those, they can pick them up from you at the track, and possibly get them from you on Facebook. Is that correct?
Yeah, if they're wanting a shirt, they just message my
Pay
Facebook
shipping.
page. We can meet somewhere, or uh, we can ship them either way. You know, if they're willing to pay the shipping on them. We sell hats too.
Okay.
I bought the trading cards for the kids, but I always put that in with my shirts also.
Yeah, you got a hero card right up here. You can't see it, but I got one up on the wall up there
Oh,
that
do
you
you?
gave me when I
Oh,
was up there. Yeah, I do. I got a hero card wall up here that no one can see, but yeah, you're up there on that wall. So I'll link that in the description. And but people can get those from you at Monett or Springfield, I would assume, when you're there
yep.
racing. Also, do you have any sponsors you want to thank?
Oh yeah, I've got really, really good sponsors. Doug's Pro Lube and Monett. They have sponsored me for probably 15 years now. Grundy's Body Shop here in Carthage. They've sponsored me quite a while. Uh, Main Street Mechanics sponsors me. They're right here in Carthage. Trying to think of everybody. Iggy's Diner here in Carthage. We've been going and eating there every Wednesday night for almost 20 years because my wife works late on Wednesday night and Dad don't cook. So me and my two boys, we go to Iggy's and we got, sometimes there's 10 of us there. Sometimes there might be just 3 or 4 of us there, but everybody knows where I'm at on Wednesday night at 6:30. And then we got Hurricane Car Wash, Garrison Performance. That's who builds my motors. He's super great guy, real friendly. You know, anytime I call him, he answers his phone with any questions or anything. I don't know. My body ain't on my car, so I can't see who all sponsors me, but I've got more than that. I just can't. Comer's Auto Express over in Joplin. Justin Comer, he also races to a BMod, so me and him race against each other. So that's kind of cool
Okay,
to race against one of your sponsors, you know. I hate
that
when
is
he
cool. So you
outruns
race at
me.
Monett?
He races Springfield a little bit.
Okay,
He's in
I
the
got you.
same situation I'm in. His son is really good at baseball. Now his
Okay,
son's not very old. He's probably 10, 11, 12 years old, but they travel all over the place for him to play
travel
baseball.
ball.
So he hasn't got to race very much at all this year just because they've been so busy with baseball. But I think baseball's about over. So he's a really
Yep.
good legend driver too.
Okay. 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 Well, Jackie, man, it's been awesome having you on here. Um, yeah, it's really cool. I think you're a local legend. I mean, up there, obviously. So, I mean, that's pretty cool to have you on here and have you talk with me and talk to the folks that might see this show. And it was pretty informative. It really was. I appreciate you being on here.
Well, I appreciate you asking me. It's
Yeah,
good, my opinion out there. It may not change nothing, but it's worth putting it out there.
that's what people want to hear, man. I mean, that's really people want to hear from the drivers and what they have to say. I know I do. That's why I do this. So I do appreciate you coming on, and hopefully you'll come back on again sometime.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate it. All
anytime.
right, thank you, thank you,
You
sir.